My boss sat close at the beach and whispered, "Smile, my ex, thinks I'm alone, romantic suspense." The Pacific wind tasted like salt and trouble, and I knew the second she leaned close to me that this was not just another work trip. "Smile," Samantha whispered near my ear, her voice soft but sharp at the same time. "My ex thinks I'm alone." I did not turn my head. I did not look behind us. I kept my eyes on the ocean like it was the most interesting thing in the world. My fingers tightened around the cold glass bottle in my hand. The water inside was warm now, but I held it like it was keeping me steady. Samantha Patel was not dressed like the CEO who ran one of the fastest-growing tech companies in San Francisco. There was no sharp black suit. No heels that clicked like warnings across marble floors. She wore a simple white swim top and a blue striped towel around her shoulders. Her dark hair was loose, blowing across her face in the wind. She looked softer, human, but the tension in her body told a different story. "He's been staring for 5 minutes," she murmured. I adjusted my grip on the bottle and used its curved reflection to scan the beach. Behind a row of lounge chairs stood a man in a navy shirt and light shorts. He pretended to look at the waves, but his eyes were fixed on us. Julian Roos, her ex-husband. Even from a distance, I could see the smooth confidence in the way he stood. The kind of man who believed the world belonged to him. The kind who smiled while setting fires. "Copy," I said quietly. "Don't look at him. Relax your shoulders. Laugh once in 10 seconds. She let out a slow breath through her nose. Then she smiled. It was not a warm smile. It was a message. For him. Her shoulder brushed mine. The heat of her skin through the thin fabric made my pulse shift. We were close enough that our knees touched in the sand. Close enough that anyone watching would assume we were more than boss and employee. "Just make it believable," she whispered. "He thinks I'm vulnerable." I leaned slightly toward her, close enough to sell the picture, not close enough to cross a line. "I see you," I said. She froze for half a second. Her eyes lifted to mine. Something changed in them. This was not acting anymore. Not for me. Behind us, Julian shifted his weight. I could feel his stare like a spotlight. Samantha was set to speak at the Innovators Summit tomorrow morning. Investors, press, board members, all in one place. And Julian had chosen this week to show up. "He's using the summit," she said under her breath. "If he corners me before my keynote, I'm done." "You're not done," I replied. She looked at my mouth for a brief second before meeting my eyes again. "Just look like you want to be here," she said. "Look like I'm not about to lose everything." Lose everything. Her company was facing a hostile board vote. Rumors had been circling online. Anonymous tech blogs hinting at stolen code, hidden emails, secrets from 3 years ago. Julian's fingerprints were all over it. But right now we were on a beach in Monterey pretending to be relaxed. "Let's walk," I said. She stood, and the towel slipped from her shoulder. I caught it and adjusted it without thinking. No claim, no pause, just instinct. Her breath caught. "Thanks," she said softly. We walked along the shoreline, our steps in sync. The ocean roared beside us, loud enough to hide quiet conversations. I kept my posture loose, calm. But my mind was already working. Julian was not here for closure. He was here to win. We moved toward the resort entrance, passing lanterns and shaded paths. Samantha's hand brushed mine once. It felt accidental. It did not feel accidental. When we reached her suite, I opened the door and stepped inside first. I locked it, then the deadbolt, then the secondary latch. "You always block everything up," she said quietly. "I didn't learn caution from spreadsheets," I replied. "Before finance, I worked private security." She studied me like that was new information. "So you're not just my accountant." "I'm your forensic accountant," I corrected. "And tonight, I'm your perimeter." She dropped her purse on the console and exhaled. The strong CEO posture slipped for just a second. "Thank you," she said. "For the beach." That was not about the beach. "Julian isn't here to talk," I said. "He's here because the board is nervous." She turned away from me. The air conditioning hummed too loudly in the silence. "He has emails," she said, "fragments from 3 years ago. He's threatening to leak them. Says they prove I stole the Omega platform's source code." I watched her carefully. "Did you?" Her chin lifted. Iron returned to her spine. "No." I nodded once. "Then we find proof." She moved closer, her perfume mixing with salt and something warm that made it hard to focus. "He wants me to resign before I go on stage," she said. "If I step down, the leaks disappear." "And if you don't?" "He burns it down." I stepped closer. "He's betting on you feeling cornered." Her phone buzzed. A message from Julian's assistant requesting a private meeting tonight. "Decline," I said. "If I decline, he escalates. Then we control the escalation." She hesitated. Samantha Patel did not like needing help. But this was bigger than pride. "Fine," she said. "We play along." I moved to the table and opened my laptop. "Send me every financial transfer from his holding companies, especially anything that looks boring." "Landscaping bills?" she asked. "Exactly." She almost smiled. The room felt smaller now, charged, not just from danger, from us. As she leaned over my shoulder to send files, her hand rested lightly on the back of my chair. The contact sent heat straight through me. "This isn't just business anymore, is it?" she asked quietly. "No," I answered. "Not anymore." A knock sounded at the door, sharp, unexpected. Samantha looked at me. I stood slowly and moved toward the door, checking through the peephole. A hotel staff member stood outside holding a tray. I opened it slightly, keeping the chain on. "Who sent you?" I asked. "Room service, sir." We had not ordered anything. I took the tray and closed the door carefully. Under the folded napkin was a small piece of paper. I unfolded it. "He knows he's watching. Don't trust anyone." My stomach tightened. Samantha stepped closer. "What is it?" Quote, I handed her the note. Her face went pale. Julian was not just playing games on the beach. He was already inside our perimeter. And this was only the beginning. The air inside the suite felt heavier after that note. Samantha stood in front of me, the paper shaking slightly in her fingers. The strong CEO mask was still there, but I could see the crack running through it. "He's trying to make us paranoid," she said, her voice steady but tight. "He wants me off balance." "He wants you scared," I replied. "That's different." I took the note back and studied the handwriting. Quick strokes, rushed, not Julian's style. Julian liked control. This felt urgent. "Either someone's warning us," I said, "or someone's playing both sides." Her eyes met mine. "Which is worse?" "Depends on who's inside the room." Silence settled between us. Another knock hit the door. This one was harder, more direct. Samantha's body tensed. I motioned for her to step back. She did, but not far. She did not hide. She never hid. I checked the peephole again. Same uniform. Different man. Another tray. Champagne this time. I opened the door just enough to see him clearly. "Who sent you?" I asked. "Complimentary service from the resort, sir," he replied, avoiding eye contact. I took the tray slowly, watching his hands. They trembled. When I closed the door, I locked it again. Deadbolt. Latch. Samantha stood behind me, close enough that I could feel her breath against my shoulder. I lifted the napkin. Beneath it was a thin black wire tucked along the edge of the tray. A listening device. "They're trying to bug the room," I said calmly. Samantha stared at it. For a second, she did not move. Then her jaw tightened. "He's escalating," she said. "He's desperate." I corrected. I unplugged the device and placed it on the table. "We assume every space is compromised now," I said. "We speak carefully." She crossed her arms. "You think he's already inside the summit systems?" I think he wants access to your strategy before tomorrow." She nodded slowly. I could see her mind switching gears. The fear did not leave. It hardened. "Micah," she said quietly, "if this blows up, It's not just the company. It's my name. I know. And you're standing in the middle of it. Quote, I know that too. Her eyes searched mine, not as a boss, as a woman who needed to know I would not walk away. I'm not going anywhere, I said. That seemed to settle something inside her. We moved to the dining table and spread out documents, financial transfers, emails, corporate filings. I scanned numbers while she pulled up archived communications. Look at this, she said, turning the laptop toward me. It was a series of shell companies linked to Julian's venture group. Landscaping, event catering, consulting fees. Small amounts that looked harmless alone. But together they formed a pattern. He's siphoning through service vendors, I said, hiding it in plain sight. Can we prove it? Quote, we can trace it. She leaned closer, her shoulder brushing mine. Neither of us moved away. Why are you doing this? She asked softly. Because he thinks you're alone. She swallowed. I've never let anyone see me fight like this, she admitted. I built everything myself. I protected it myself. You don't have to tonight. Her hand rested on the table beside mine, inches apart. The tension between us shifted. Not just danger, something warmer. Her phone buzzed again. Julian. A message, this time directly from him. We need to talk. Privately, before tomorrow. Or this gets ugly. Samantha's lips pressed into a thin line. If I ignore him, he posts something, she said. If you meet him alone, he corners you. She looked at me carefully. What if I don't meet him alone? I understood immediately. You want me there. I want him to see that I'm not exposed. The words were professional. Her eyes were not. Fine, I said. Public space. Cameras. We control the setting. She nodded. We chose the resort's rooftop lounge. Open, visible, crowded enough to keep him contained. An hour later, we stepped out of the suite together. The hallway felt too quiet. I walked slightly ahead. She walked beside me, not behind. Equal. When the elevator doors opened onto the rooftop, the ocean wind hit us again. The sky was turning orange with sunset. Guests filled the space, laughing, drinking, unaware of the war about to play out in their view. Julian stood near the railing. He looked relaxed, confident, like he had already won. His eyes moved from Samantha to me, slow, measuring. Samantha, he said smoothly, you brought security now? She did not flinch. I brought perspective, she replied. He smiled thinly. You look tired, he said. Big day tomorrow. I sleep fine, she answered. His gaze shifted to me. And you are? Micah Reed, I said calmly. Forensic accounting. His smile faded just slightly. Ah, he said. The help. The help reads numbers, I replied. Very well. He leaned closer to Samantha, lowering his voice but not enough to hide it. You don't have to embarrass yourself tomorrow, he said. Resign tonight. We keep this quiet. And if I don't? She asked. His eyes flicked toward me. Then the blogs get a nice package in the morning. I stepped forward just enough to shift the angle between them. Funny, I said. Because we were about to send one ourselves. His expression changed. What are you talking about? He asked. I held his gaze. Your vendor transfers, I said quietly. Your shell accounts. The market timing. His jaw tightened. You're bluffing. I don't bluff, I replied. The wind picked up around us. The sunset light painted the sky red. For the first time, Julian looked unsure. Samantha did not look at him. She looked at me. And in that moment, the beach scene flashed in my mind. Her whisper, her closeness, the way she asked me to make it believable. It was not just strategy anymore. Julian straightened his jacket. This isn't over, he said. No, I answered calmly. It's just getting started. He walked away, but not with the same confidence he arrived with. Samantha released a breath she had been holding. You shook him, she said quietly. We're not done, I replied. She stepped closer to me, closer than she had to. I wasn't acting on the beach, she said softly. The noise of the rooftop faded around us. I know, I answered. Her hand touched my wrist. Warm, certain. And for the first time since this began, I realized the biggest risk in this whole situation was not Julian. It was how much I was starting to care. The rooftop wind died down after Julian left, but the tension between us did not. Samantha's hand was still around my wrist. I wasn't acting on the beach, she had said. The words stayed there, hanging between us like something fragile and dangerous. Neither of us moved for a second. The noise of the rooftop bar came back slowly, glasses clinking. Laughter, music in the background, but it all felt far away. We should go, I said quietly. She nodded, but her fingers did not let go right away. When she finally stepped back, the air felt colder. We took the elevator down in silence. The mirrored walls reflected us, standing side by side. Professional. Controlled. But the space between our shoulders was smaller than before. Inside the suite, I locked the door again. Deadbolt. Latch. This time, she did not comment on it. She walked to the window and looked out at the dark ocean. Her reflection in the glass looked strong, but I could see the weight behind her eyes. He looked rattled, she said. He wasn't expecting resistance, I replied. He never does. She turned to face me. You said we were going to send something out. We are. I moved to the table and opened my laptop. I had already compiled the documents, the vendor payments, the shell accounts, the timeline that lined up perfectly with stock fluctuations. He's been manipulating market perception, I said. Small leaks to tech blogs, then timed transfers before price shifts. Can we prove intent? We can show pattern. That's enough to start. She crossed the room and stood behind me again, reading over my shoulder. You move fast, she said quietly. I don't like predators, I replied. Her reflection in the screen showed a faint smile. Another knock hit the door. Not soft, not polite. We both froze. I motioned for her to stay back. I checked the peephole. 2 men stood outside. Not hotel staff. Suits. Board members. I opened the door. Miss Patel, one of them said stiffly. We need a word. Samantha stepped forward before I could answer. Come in, she said calmly. They entered the suite and looked around like they expected chaos. We've received inquiries, the second man said. About Omega, about internal emails. Julian had already started pushing. Samantha did not look at me. What kind of inquiries? She asked. Claims that you acquired source code improperly. There it was, the accusation. I stepped forward. Do you have evidence? I asked. The first man frowned. And you are? Micah Reed, Forensic Accounting. The board member's eyes narrowed slightly. We have screenshots, he said. Partial emails. From 3 years ago? I asked calmly. He blinked. Yes. Out of context, I replied. Without transaction data attached. They exchanged a look. Samantha remained steady. I built Omega, she said clearly. Every line, every update. I have full documentation. Then release it, the second man said. We will, I answered. Samantha's eyes flicked to me. Confidence, not fear. The board members left with stiff nods, but they were no longer aggressive. They were uncertain. Once the door closed, Samantha exhaled. He's accelerating, she said. Good, I replied. She stared at me. Good. The faster he moves, the sloppier he gets. Quote, she walked closer until we were only inches apart. And what if he releases something before we're ready? He won't. How do you know? Because if he posts first, we respond with the full file. Her eyes searched mine. You're sure? Yes. Silence filled the space again, heavy, charged. You stepped in again tonight, she said softly. I said I would. Her hand rose slowly, hesitated, then rested against my chest. Not professional, not strategic, just real. I'm not used to someone standing between me and danger, she admitted. I'm not used to standing between my boss and a billion-dollar scandal, I replied lightly. She almost laughed, but her eyes were serious. You're more than that, she said. The words landed harder than anything Julian had thrown at us. My pulse shifted. Samantha, I started. Another buzz from her phone cut through the moment. A notification from a tech blog. Breaking, Omega CEO under investigation for code theft. The post had just gone live. She stepped back as if physically hit. He did it, she whispered. I moved quickly to the screen. The article showed cropped emails. Partial phrases, no context, but enough to spark panic. Her breathing changed. The iron posture cracked. Micah, she said, voice barely steady, if investors pull out tomorrow morning. They won't, I said firmly. I turned the laptop toward her. Look at the timestamps. She leaned in. The email fragments are missing attachments, I continued, and the blog posted before market open. That means he pushed early. She blinked. He panicked. Yes. Her eyes sharpened again. He made a mistake. I nodded. He revealed which account he's using to distribute. She straightened fully now. The CEO was back. Send it, she said. Everything? Everything. I uploaded the full financial misconduct file, the vendor transfers, the stock manipulation pattern, the internal communications we had traced. Then I sent it to 3 major outlets and copied the board. Subject line, full context. We stood in silence after hitting send. There was no turning back. Her phone started buzzing again. Not from Julian. From investors. From reporters. From board members. The narrative was shifting. She looked at me slowly. You just escalated a corporate war, she said. I controlled it, I replied. Her gaze softened. You always do that, she said. Do what? Step in before I fall. She moved closer again. This time there was no hesitation. Her hand slid up from my chest to my shoulder. I don't want this to end when the summit does, she said quietly. The honesty in her voice was more dangerous than Julian. You're my boss, I reminded her. For now, she replied. The tension between us was no longer about danger. It was about choice. Her fingers tightened slightly. I'm done pretending, she whispered. Before I could respond, her phone buzzed again. This time it was security downstairs. Julian was trying to leave the resort. And police were waiting. Samantha looked at me. It's happening, she said. Yes, I answered. But what was happening between us felt just as real. And far more complicated. Tomorrow she would take the stage. Julian would face consequences. The company might survive. But tonight, standing in that quiet suite with her hand still resting on me, I realized something much bigger had already changed. We were no longer just fighting the same enemy, we were fighting the pull toward each other. And neither of us was stepping back. The ballroom felt different the next morning. Not tense, sharp, like the air before lightning strikes. Samantha stood in front of the mirror inside the suite, adjusting the sleeve of her black blazer. She looked powerful again. Clean lines. Steady posture. But I knew what had happened in the last 12 hours. The fear. The escalation. The blog post. The counterattack. And the moment in the dark when she said she was done pretending. You ready? I asked. She met my eyes in the reflection. I've never been more ready. Her phone buzzed. A short message from resort security. Julian had been detained for questioning. Financial misconduct. Suspicious activity tied to vendor accounts. She did not smile, but something in her shoulders eased. We walked toward the ballroom side entrance together. This time she did not walk ahead of me. She walked beside me. Equal. The doors opened and noise rushed over us. Reporters, investors, board members, the same crowd from yesterday. But the energy had shifted. People were whispering again. Only now the whispers were not about her. They were about him. We took our seats in the front row. Samantha's name was announced. She stood, and when she walked to the stage, the room went quiet. I stayed near the aisle, eyes scanning, habit still active. But I was not looking for Julian anymore. I was watching her. She adjusted the microphone. Security, she began, her voice clear, steady, is not just code, it's trust. The same opening line, but this time it carried weight. She spoke about integrity, about transparency, about building systems that protect people instead of exploiting them. And without naming him, she addressed manipulation, fear tactics, false narratives. The crowd listened. Every word landed. Halfway through, one of the reporters raised a hand. "Miss Patel," he called, "would you like to comment on the investigation involving your former husband?" The room tightened again. Samantha did not hesitate. "I don't build my company on revenge," she said calmly. "I build it on facts. And the facts are available to anyone who wants the full context." Her eyes swept the room once. Then they found me. Just for a second, trust. She finished to applause that felt genuine, not polite. Real. When she stepped off the stage, she walked straight toward me. "You okay?" I asked quietly. "I'm better than okay." We did not hug, not there, not in front of cameras, but her hand brushed mine deliberately. After the summit ended, we returned to the suite one last time to collect her things. The room felt different now, less like a war zone, more like the quiet after a storm. Her phone buzzed again. The board vote had shifted. In her favor. She closed her eyes briefly. "We won," she said. "Yes," I replied. She turned to face me fully. "This started with you sitting close on a beach," she said softly, "and me asking you to smile." Quote, "You ordered me to smile." I corrected lightly. She stepped closer. "There was a moment," she said, "when I wasn't pretending." "I know." Her hand rose again, this time without hesitation. She touched my face gently. "You stepped into a fight that wasn't yours. It became mine." Her eyes searched mine for doubt. There was none. "You're my accountant," she said quietly, "and your perimeter." "And?" she pressed. I exhaled slowly. "And the man who cares more about you than is professionally wise." She smiled. "Not strategic, not controlled, real." "I'm not your boss right now," she said. The space between us disappeared. Her lips brushed mine softly at first. Careful. Testing. Then, sure. The tension from the beach, from the rooftop, from the suite, finally broke into something steady and certain. When we pulled back, she rested her forehead lightly against mine. "No more pretending," she whispered. "No more." I agreed. Outside the window, the ocean moved in calm waves. The same beach where it began, only now there was no one watching. No ex-husband waiting. No game to play, just two people who had chosen to stand together. She picked up her bag. "Let's go home," she said. Home. It sounded different now. We left the suite side by side. Not boss and employee. Not protector and target. Partners. And whatever storms came next, we would face them the same way we faced this one. Close. Certain. And never alone.